The reason I bristle when people say self-care, because I just think it has this fluffy connotation. And don't get me wrong, bubble baths, I'm here for it. But also, there's a lot of other things that are equally important, like setting boundaries, not saying yes when you really mean no, showing ourselves that we fucking matter. I'm not going to sacrifice the last piece of cake to my kids. Sorry. I love this cake just as much as you do.
Every year we get a really fancy cake called the Bouche de Noël. It's not cheap. I go in there the next evening to have a piece. It looked like a grizzly bear had gotten in there and ripped it into 2 pieces. And I lost my ever-loving shit. Who ate the cake? My son, he really can't tell. Like, sorry, Mom. And I look over at my daughter and she looks away and I know you were part of this. You guys, I got 1 piece. I didn't even have 1 piece of cake. I had a half piece of cake. This is not okay. A couple days later, my husband's like, you really need to get over it. I'm not going to get over it. I wanted a piece of cake, damn it.
Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Drinks with the Girls. Hello, and we are excited that you're here with us. We are talking about something today that I think every woman needs to hear. We are going to talk about how to fall in love with yourself, because this is the season of love, Valentine's Day, and we want to talk about loving yourself. So, but before we get into it, today I am drinking a Kavita probiotic refresher, and I'm doing the lemon ginger today. I'm not normally a ginger girl, but it's pretty good, very light and refreshing. And it has probiotics, and it's only 70 calories. So there it is.
There you go.
What are you drinking, babe?
Well, I am celebrating Valentine's Day with the pink lip. So I was pretty proud of myself with that. And purple nails. I planned none of that. I just thought I'd pretend that I did. And I have been on planes, trains, and automobiles for a week now. It has been crazy travel for me. So I had a drink picked out, and then I was like, screw it. I'm tired. I want some warm tea. So I'm drinking some of my yummy Arbonne Clean Tox tea in a mug, and it's basically like chamomile with more flavor. So it's just a nice kind of chill one, and it's it's detox. So yeah,
yum. All right, so the V word,
dun,
Valentine's Day. What do you think of when you hear the word Valentine's Day?
So it's kind of funny because the first thing I thought of when I realized we were recording this today is I remember a year ago we did the episode with our partners, and we started planning this episode, gosh, maybe 6 months ago, and we were like, that would be kind of the other side of the coin to do. And that was a fun episode. It really was fun to talk to our guys and kind of get their feedback on this whole podcast thing. So I'll link that in the show notes. But yeah, I mean, I think that when you're younger, Valentine's Day is this whole thing, right? Like in grade school, it's like everybody has to give everybody a Valentine. It's and classroom parties and blah, blah, blah. And you have to get Valentines. And then in your 20s, you're don't want to be alone on Valentine's Day. And then at some point, I think it goes into the We Do Not Care Club. And you're like, I don't give a flying anymore about it. And, it's just in Japan, apparently they celebrate it like Christmas. It's just a fun, weird kind of day, and it's love, but it's much more just celebrating the idea of love, not necessarily romantic love. And I kind of rather have it be like that, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's way better. And yes, you do get to a point when you're like in the do not care, I do not care club about it, but it takes a minute. Like,
Yeah,
because
agreed.
I think even if you're married or even if you're in a coupleship, you still, when you're younger, you still have these expectations of being chosen and gift giving and these expressions, these outward expressions of love or whatever. I'll never forget Peyton last year. She had told her boyfriend at the time, they are no longer together, but she told him,
Yay.
She's like, I hate Valentine's Day. She goes, just love me every day.
That's right. I remember you said that. I was like, that girl's got it.
That is so her.
I was in some airport in some city this morning. I can't remember where. And there was a woman in front of me at the Starbucks line as I was peeling my eyelids up on my eyeballs. And she had with her, I was like, wow. Like, there was a lot of crap that she had. And it was very clear that it was like romantic gesture kind of thing. But she had 2 little Build-A-Bear boxes and then this huge bouquet of flowers. And then on top of the bouquet of flowers, it was like gold butterflies and like happy birthday. And like, it was majorly extra. And she's hauling all this stuff on the plane. And I wasn't like, oh, that's so sweet. I was just like, girlfriend, like that is like
a lot.
That's a lot. And I just thought, wow, I've come so far where I look at her and it's like, it's not like a jealousy thing. It's like, girl, what are you doing?
Well, I remember when I was married and my kids were younger, Valentine's Day was a whole family thing. It's like, my ex and I would usually do something, not on the day, because we figured that out real quick, that was a nightmare.
Bad idea.
But we would do something, exchange cards or, go out to dinner, whatever. And I would get the kids gifts. I would do little Valentine things for them. I had the themed placemats and the heart-shaped cake pan and the all of, and
whoa, that's hardcore.
I guess it's fun. And at the time I'd never thought, oh my God, I'm resenting this or anything. But I just think it's just a lot. And I think we tend to fall into the trap of the Hallmark holidays.
Oh yeah.
The Hallmark channel, and then we start comparing or we start, feeling less than. And I think that's when it gets, a little toxic. And I like the way Japan does it. It's like, let's celebrate all the relationships.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate the love between girlfriends.
All of the things. Yeah. And I mean, let's be real. Hallmark doesn't exactly make it easy to be centered about that. Like that's their business to sell cards. By the way, Squirrel, have you checked out the prices of greeting cards lately? Holy mother of God. Like it used to be like, oh, it's a card. It's a couple bucks. They're like $7-9 for just like a regular card. It's like, oh my God, were these trees grown by virgins? Like what in the world? It's like, so now like if I get somebody a card, I'm like, yeah, this is a present.
I used to, because like really nice specialty cards would be like $7.
Yeah.
Regular card would be like $3.45.
Totally.
But then, so I was like, oh, this is a really great card. I'll do it. But now anymore, it's like, oh my gosh, you know what? Just to go down the rabbit hole further, I tried to buy a burrito at El Pollo Loco today.
Okay. Before you go down this rabbit hole, I just want it to be known that mine was at least Valentine's adjacent. I'm not sure how we're going to get back from burritos, but please, okay, share.
Definitely not. But do you know you cannot buy a burrito for under $10 at El Pollo Loco in Southern California? I'm like, wait, what? What happened? Anyway, okay.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. And we're
love.
knocking on the door of $10 in Oregon as well. So, no burrito love for you.
I guess I haven't really been through a drive-through in a long time, or bought a burrito, a fast food type burrito. So I'm out of the loop. But anyway, I was shocked.
El Pollo Loco is one of the things I miss about Southern California. Okay, anyways, because that was like, wow, we went way down the road. What are we even talking about anymore? Help me.
Here we go. We're coming back. We're talking about loving ourselves and how
that
midlife is the perfect time that if you've been falling short in this area, loving yourself, that now is the perfect time to just get on board.
Well, and I think that you have to be kind of at a point where you're kind of a grown up, right? Because it's so easy to beat ourselves up. And I mean, I'm at the point where like, I don't look at Valentine's Day as like, oh God, I hope we go to a fancy restaurant and this and that and the other. Like, I'd love to go to dinner with my husband, but it's nice, but it's not like the be all and end all and a big big thing, right? Like if I remember, I get the kids' cards. I actually just found the cards. I got them like 5 years ago, stuffed in my cabinet when they organized. And I was like, oh, well, maybe can I get away with like giving it to them this year? I don't know. They're a little young. We'll see what happens. But I do think that it's all part of this maturity of just like, I am over beating myself up. Like, I kind of like who I am. I enjoy spending time with this person. You make that kind of jump where you're not wanting to crawl out of your own skin when you're with yourself, and you're just like, actually, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And, we're talking about Valentine's Day, but it's not about Valentine's Day on a whole. Like I want to, look at what Peyton said, just love me every day.
I love
and not
that.
even so much talking about your partner, but talking about yourself. Look in the damn mirror and say, I just want you to love me every day. That kind of gives me chills because I see a lot of women who have forgotten how to love themselves. When they come to me. They're at this place where they've really gotten disconnected from themselves and they've forgotten. So I have to remind them, because women are notoriously bad at loving themselves. They're really good at loving everybody else and putting everybody else in front of them. And then they forget how to love themselves. So that's why I think this episode is really important.
And I think a lot of it is just being disconnected from who you are. It's that whole identity piece. And let's get real, like society doesn't exactly encourage us to love ourselves. Society is about all the imperfections and Kardashianizing things, as I love to, bash the Kardashians. But just this idea that's like, you're never enough. You need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. So of course, self-love kind of gets flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, well, our capitalist society wants to make money off of our insecurities and making us feel like shit.
Because capitalism is run by, say it with me, the patriarchy. Yay! Not so yay.
Yes, there it is. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
But I think too, the important piece, not to take that, not to go further with the P word, but the important thing about not looking outside of ourselves for love, it is truly an inside job. People can give you compliments. People can give you things. You can do all these things and feel like you're performing at this amazing level. And unless you truly love yourself, unless it's coming from the inside, it's going to fall flat. It's not going to actually mean anything.
I was thinking about that again today because I had a lot of time on my hands on a 5-hour flight where I was unable to connect to the internet, and thinking about like when I learned to love myself and when I made kind of progress in that area and what that looked like. And I was just kind of like unwinding the yarn to see kind of where that picked up. And I remember in high school, I was on dance team, drill team, we called it at the time. And that was like something I really wanted. Like I kept auditioning and we had a really good one that was like nationally known. So it was hard to get in. So I finally made it junior year. And they had kind of like a subset of the team called dance team. And that was like the elite kind of, performance. And I tried out and I didn't make it, but people who were in tight with the popular girls that were the captains made it. And I knew that I was a good dancer. Like that was never something that I had questioned. And a couple of the people in particular that were selected were not all that great. And I really knew that it was rigged. And I remember it was probably the first time in my life that I really like stuck up for myself. And I remember I met with the teacher, whatever, the sponsoring teacher. And I was like, I'm leaving the team. And she tried to give me this whole guilt trip about like, you don't quit and, you finish what you started, da, da, da. And I remember like it's yesterday. I remember turning to her and saying, I don't feel like I'm quitting. I said, I feel like I am calling this out because it's clearly rigged and merit and ability are not being judged fairly. And then she was like, well, we just think you should have another year and then senior year. And I was like, really? Because this person and this person and this person. And she really tried to gaslight me. And I just remember that little 16-year-old self of mine who, like, if somebody said boo to her, would like jump off a bridge. I was very calm. I was like, no, That's not what's happening here, and I'm not going to be part of it anymore. And I walked away.
Hey there, I'm Lisa Corricello-McDowell, your midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. And I'm beyond excited to tell you about my membership for maxed out mamas just like me, the Empowered Parent Collective. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together.
That's when it started. I mean, there was a lot of hiccups along the way, but I look back and I'm like, how the heck did I find the guts to do that and really stand my ground in freaking high school, So what about you?
When did incredible.
When did you start kind of that journey of
That's tough. I don't have a memory like that. That's like a core memory of me feeling like I was loving myself or choosing myself or taking care of myself. I think I went a lot of years trying to prove I was enough. Mm-hmm. And trying to, not rock the boat, not make any waves, just be very palatable and kind of blend in and don't take up too much space, all that, right? So, I mean, honestly, it wasn't until I was probably in my 30s, I was in the trenches of mothering, and I had quit my job at that point and was, full-time mommying, and really was like, holy shit, I need to do something for me or I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. And that's when I started surfing.
That's so
at
cool.
35. And then I was just hooked. I was obsessed. And so then we would joke about it. Luckily, it was such a blessing. I found other women in my community who were my age who were doing the same thing. And at the time, there were not a lot of women in surfing. It was a very, very male-dominated sport, especially older, in air quotes, women.
Yeah.
The young little 16-year-olds, great. They had a spot in the lineup. But, the moms that drop their kids off at kindergarten and then head to the beach.
I just love that story.
It's a fun story for me, to have lived and to tell. And I think that's when I really started, not that I, thought I was trash before that or didn't, put myself down or whatever, but that's when I really started taking loving myself, making it a practice. It's not just self-care. Oh, I'm going to give myself a manicure.
Yeah.
But it's in order to save myself, I need to do something for myself. And I did. And it was best decision of my life.
Yeah. And I should clarify, it wasn't 16-year-old me lived happily ever after. Oh, no. Years and decades and all the things that you just described. I just remember that core memory as the first time I really was nope, I'm choosing myself and this is why, and da-da-da. So yeah, I wasn't that together.
Well, and I think it's not a straight line. It's not linear either.
For sure.
And by the way, nobody teaches us how to love ourselves, especially as women, right? Because like we said earlier, it's we get all this outside noise telling us what we're supposed to look like and how we're supposed to behave and what we're supposed to do and the choices we're allowed to make and blah, blah, blah. And so, I think, loving yourself is a freaking rebellious act, truly. Full on diving headfirst into loving yourself is rebellious because society doesn't want us to.
Yeah. And I think also setting someone straight when they try to other you, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel I go overboard now. I'm okay, hold it in, kiddo. Hold it in.
Yeah, you got to make up for all those times that you didn't.
Totally. That's what I think about. I'm just okay, that was a little overboard. My daughter will be like, Mom, that was way extra. Okay, fine. But I do. That's what brings me back because I'm always I got to make up for all the times I just let everybody step the hell all over me and squish me to the ground. So now it's just all this pent up stuff now. Just God help someone. Someone makes a rude comment or a mean comment or whatever. And it's you're in high school. And if you're not the popular crowd, that stings, you know? And, you know, now, like if somebody said something, I mean, I'm just like, who are you? Like, really? You know? But that journey, I think, is a really rough one, especially for women, because we just measure ourselves by our relationship. Not that men don't measure themselves by outside measuring sticks, but I do feel like for us, it's a very like, I'm not sure how I want to say this, and I might just be jet lagged and tired, but it just seems very like the social metrics are how we measure ourselves, if that makes sense. I don't know. Save me. I think the jet lag's kicking in. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
You're totally making sense, because it's true. Because society as a whole, I mean, of course, you know, these are generalizations, right? But society as a whole does not tell men that they have to go outside of themselves for their worth.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
like
that's
sure,
it.
their job, you know, their sense of self is intertwined with, you know, being a provider or being successful or whatever they're doing in their job. Right. I think, but I don't think in any other way, like certainly not relationships,
Mm-hmm.
like they're not going to get their value from whether or not they're in a partnership. Sometimes quite the opposite. They get all the kudos for, you know, running around town. Same with like parenting. Like, I don't think they're judged as harshly in terms of in that role either. So I think, no, I don't think you're jet lagged. Well, you might be jet lagged, but I don't think you're wrong.
The whole time while you were saying that, I was like, thank God I have smart friends that know what the heck I mean when I lose the ability to speak the English language in a cogent way. Oy.
Yeah, I think this topic gets a little dangerous, and I know that sounds extreme, but when we get to our 40s and our 50s and we wake up and we look in the mirror and we don't recognize ourselves, that is a scary place to be in. And it is from all those little, like, what do you like to say? Death by 1,000 cuts? Is that it?
Yep.
But it's like the slow burn over the decades of us abandoning ourselves and putting others before us and not trusting ourselves and not listening to ourselves and, you know, trying to keep the peace. And so it takes a lot of courage to look at yourself in the mirror as a woman in your 40s or 50s or 60s, say, oh my gosh, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, you have glimpses of that young woman that you were, and you want to get back to her and you don't know how. And you're like, holy shit, the clock is ticking. I need to figure this out. Stat. And then I think we panic sometimes.
Back to your original point in terms of like the gender roles in general, right? Stereotyping. Women are praised for blending in. Men are praised for standing out.
Yeah.
And
for sure,
vilified for doing the opposite, right? Like if men just kind of blend in, that's not really valued. And it's the same thing. If a woman speaks out, oh, you're being a bitch, you're just being too,
right.
You know,
men are being a leader. Yeah. And then I think too, over time, we get so used to not centering our own needs that we just forget how to even check in with ourselves. Like, what do I need? What do I want? Because we don't want to inconvenience somebody or disappoint somebody.
I mean, to your point, when your kids are grown up and out of the house, and I mean, whether or not you're single or not, you have this time on your hands. And unless you have taken time to know what you like and what you want to do and how you want to spend your time, I would imagine that that's a really difficult place to be when you have that empty space and you don't know kind of what to do with it.
Yeah. And my mind is spinning right now as we're talking about all these things, because I haven't really thought about it, but it's a huge mindfuck for women also, because when we do lose ourselves and we become disconnected from ourselves and we sacrifice ourselves for everybody else and whether it's our job, our families, our parents, right? Society rewards us for that.
Oh yeah.
They reward us for being strong and being flexible, for taking care of everything, for being, this was me, low maintenance.
Yep.
I was praised in my marriage for being low maintenance, and come to find out that equals not having a voice.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. Women are praised for blending in.
Yeah.
And men are praised for standing out.
I fit very nicely in the box that was made for me.
Yes, that. And all the effort was made to squeeze into that box, and you were praised for having the qualities that helped you squeeze in that box. And then, yeah, I mean, you've talked about this during your divorce. It's like you talked about the idea that you had to really come to terms with the fact at the end of the day that you were okay being the villain and that you were just going to set that aside. But the minute you decided to take yourself off the cross and talk about your needs, whoo.
Yeah, for sure. And then also you have the guilt that comes with that as a woman, because from the outside looking in, everything looks great. Like everything looks fine, right? And then but inside it's not fine. And then you feel guilty for wanting more or wanting something different or wanting to have a fucking voice.
Yeah. I think one of the distinctions that we need to make, I'm slightly off kilter on the topic, but I think it's relevant, is this idea of self-love and self-care.
Ugh, you said it.
I know, but let me finish. They're two different things, right? They're two different things. Yeah. Taking care of yourself is different than loving yourself. Part of loving yourself can be self-care, but it's not the same thing. And Karen hates that word, and I'll just say it for her. She prefers self-indulgence, and as a former coaching client of hers, I can tell you that was probably the hardest exercise ever when she made me write down, what is it, like 50 things that you find pleasure in, and it was not a comfortable process at all. And you tell me that like literally every client you make do that. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, they do that exact thing. They bristle and they're like, what? It's a relearning process for sure. And it's funny because when I started using that word self-indulgence in like my content and my blog posts and things like that, I would get pushback from women. And so I'm like, okay, let me look it up. And basically it says doing or tending to do exactly what one wants, especially when it involves pleasure or idleness. And I just love the idleness piece because guess what? That equals rest, right? So that's the Oxford definition. And I'm like, what is wrong with that? What is selfish about that? But then you look up the Merriam-Webster version and it's excessive or unrestrained gratification of one's own appetites, desires, or whims. So I think that definition is where, we start to attach this negative connotation. Whereas doing or tending to do exactly what you want when it involves pleasure or idleness, I mean, we all need that, men, women, kids, adults. It's like, sure. And guess what? We can do that alongside taking care of everybody else. It's not like we're putting our needs first all the time. Sometimes, sure.
But I think even that word idleness, that's not really a good word. Like if I was to say to you, oh, I really want to have a weekend of idleness, it's got a connotation of laziness. It's not a good word. What did they say? Idle hands or the devil's work, or I don't know. Something like that.
Yes, I see what you're saying. And also, I think, especially to people who are high performing, and I'm thinking of a client of mine, it was not you, but I had a client and what was the word? She had every time I used a word, what was it? Oh my God, wasn't successful, productive. She would always, I'd have her do this make a list of 50 things that bring you pleasure, right? And we all are, by the way, we all have this wiring that we have to earn pleasure. Mm-hmm. We have to earn idleness.
Totally.
We have to earn rest, right? And so she would always be like, well, I haven't been productive. And so I had to get her really step back and go, so the fuck what? Go take a fucking bath.
Yep.
It is really hard, especially for people who are very driven, very A-type personality, perfectionists, whatnot, right? So it's like, yeah, so those words will, you say it and it's just like, you can just see the hackles on the back of their neck rising.
And y'all that aren't watching this on YouTube, like you haven't seen my like facial gymnastics when she's been talking about this, because that's totally me. Like, oh, well, I can't just nap to nap. I have so much to do, or this and that and the other. And like, well,
I can't just nap because my body's exhausted.
I know. Screw that. Like, what's that?
And you're a good sport because I didn't want to call you out. I was not talking about you, but literally not all of my clients, but most of my clients have a type.
Yeah. And you weren't calling me out because I'm just like most women out there that have that kind of personality type. It's like, I don't think I have the corner on that market,
No, you're definitely not alone. My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers like my Midlife Reclamation Guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers. And then where does the good girl conditioning fit into all that? You know, we talk about that a lot on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, it's about the idea that what is the definition of a good girl, right? Are good girls idle? I don't know that I'd put that descriptor in there, right? And so I think there's this kind of caricature of what a quote unquote good girl should be, and it usually that kind of archetype represents people that are palatable to others, people that do things that are indicative of the fact that they're trying to please other people, and that's kind of where the motivator is coming from, versus just, yeah, I'm going to take a nap because I'm freaking tired. Like, that's not ideal, kind of, I guess is the best way to put it.
Here's the thing. Good girl, quote unquote, good girl by our society standards do not put themselves first. They are not, quote unquote, self-indulgent. They don't take a nap when they're tired. They sacrifice. They keep their needs hidden. They're low maintenance, right? So then when women get to this age, they don't recognize themselves in the mirror anymore because they need to love themselves more. And somebody like me talks to them about self-indulgence or even self-care. Let's just say that. They feel like that's like a crazy thing that somebody's asking them to do, to actually check in with themselves, decide what they want, and do something about it, especially if the people around them still have needs that need to be taken care of. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I do feel like there's a lot of editing of personality that goes on, right? Like, there's the mother persona. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I love my kids, but there's a certain, I can't be like, could you please shut up? Because I'm really over you having your 15-year-old temper tantrum. And I just, you know what I mean? Like, I could, it wouldn't go so well. You know, at work, it's not like I can be like, I just lost 15 minutes of my life listening to you and you're still not making sense. Like, I get fired. Being out in the world involves a certain amount of editing, and we don't really give ourselves time to kind of recharge that battery and just give ourselves time to just be. Like, I was with my college bestie this weekend and we had the best time. It was so fun. And we didn't, it wasn't like we were going out partying. No, I mean, like, that's not part of my life really now. It doesn't sound appealing, but we just hung out at her house and she made really good food. And, you know, we've known each other for freaking ever. And we were talking about the fact that it's so relaxing and like energizing to be with someone that you just vibrate at the same level, right? And it's like we were just truly ourselves and no one felt the need to explain themselves or just be anything other than who they are. Now, obviously, we got 37 years of shorthand in between us, right? It's like you and I. Like, that in and of itself makes it easier. But I think the moments where we get to just do that, just truly be ourselves without thinking about how we're going to come across to the world, are few and far between, for sure.
Yeah. And I think we talk about that on this podcast, about our relationships, our friendships, our girl friendships, you know, and having people around you that love you for who you are, and they let you be messy and they let you cry, you know, with the snot running down your nose, you know, and they don't judge you. And also they tell you when you need to get your shit together. You know, they lovingly say, you might want to rethink that. Right. And I think too, when you were, you know, with your friend, you're not taking care of anybody.
No, exactly.
Like, the only thing, and I know she was cooking for you because she likes to cook. Like, you know, she was enjoying that. So it wasn't like she felt like that was a chore, I'm assuming. But yeah, you can just be. And you can talk and you can have conversation or not, or you can take a nap, or you can stay in your pajamas until 11:30 just chatting or whatever.
Which we did.
Right.
Well, and the other side of that coin is just spending time with yourself. Not, oh, woe's me, I'm so lonely, but just like unplugging from the noise and giving yourself some space and just kind of chilling out so you're not taking care of anybody else either. And that situation is relaxing and restful and recharging in a lot of ways as well, where you're just being,
I think that's hard for a lot of women. Honestly. I think to just be, to be idle, to do nothing, to just sit and relax or paint your toenails or make yourself a great breakfast, whatever. I mean, and this theme has come up several times on the last few episodes we've recorded, this idea of space and how, women just really, we don't have it. And even if you're not a mother, even if you don't have kids, because our gender requires us to kind of be that go-to person, with our parents. Our jobs.
There's a certain amount of extrovert required as a woman, even if you aren't an extrovert. I feel like men get more of an introvert break. So I think I've talked about this before. I mean, my job requires me to travel a bit. It's not crazy time, but I do travel a bit, and I'm going to be traveling a lot. The spring is usually a busier time for me, but everybody's always like, oh, I'm so sorry. That must be so hard. And I mean, yeah, it takes its toll, but also I'm always like, I don't know. I'm not cooking. Somebody's bringing me food and I get to sleep in a bed that I didn't make up, nor did I turn over, and clean sheets, and I can watch whatever I want on TV. So there's some perks to that. And I do revel in that time, right? Like today I woke up at crazy hour because I was coming back from the East Coast, and I knew that it was going to be a travel day in airplanes, and I'd had just a recent really bad experience, so I was a little nervous, but I was also looking forward to it because even though you're with all these people, like nobody knows you, right? So you can just put your AirPods in and kind of do your thing and just being your own space bubble, and that part I really do like with the traveling. It really as much as you're around billions of people in this tin can flying through space, I do just kind of go inside myself and just get really quiet. And I enjoy that part. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Because how often do we really have a chance to just sit and listen to ourself, or reflect on things, or, have a little conversation with ourselves? I think that's something that we get so busy, and we get so focused on all the things we have to do and all the people, and that's where that disconnection we talked about earlier comes from, right? And I think for me too, self-love is just, if we are going to equate it with self-care, it has to be radical self-care, and it's just allowing yourself to matter alongside your people, because I know women, especially if they're mothers, they get a little crazy when I say, well, what do you want? How about you do something for yourself? Because they feel like, I have to take care of my people. Well, guess what? You can matter too, right alongside every single person in your life. You don't have to be ahead, but I certainly don't want you behind.
So I want to go back to something you said, because I think it's important. You talk about this idea of radical self-care. That might be pretty intense for someone who's just hearing that for the first time. Can you talk a little bit more about that and give an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah. And the reason I bristle when you say self-care, people say self-care, because I just think it has this fluffy connotation, that's like, oh, I need a bubble bath and that'll be great. And yes, don't get me wrong, bubble baths. Yes, I'm here for it. Put it on my list of the 50 things. Absolutely. But also there's a lot of other things that are equally important, like setting boundaries. Not saying yes when you really mean no, right? Guarding your space and time. And I've gotten better with this in terms of just like people reaching out to me on my phone, because, somebody sends you a text, you see it, you feel, oh my gosh, I have to respond. And then I've had to help myself be like, no, you don't need to respond right now. You're in the middle of something.
Yeah.
You don't need to. And that's where my whole ADD brain goes crazy, because I end up doing things like that all day. Because when you work from home, nobody's there to be like, you have to have this done by 2 p.m. And so you really, you get interrupted constantly. And I know everybody knows, because everybody has a phone, right? And so anyways, even just something little like that. But I think telling ourselves, showing ourselves that we fucking matter, right? Like, I'm not going to sacrifice the last piece of cake to my kids. Sorry. I love this cake just as much as you do. And I mean, it helps now that they're 27 and almost 30. They're not 2 and 4, but still, it's things like that. Like, we matter equally to the people in our lives, and we are the only ones that can love ourselves the way that we truly know how to be loved. Like, our partners give it a damn good go. I'm very lucky I have a man who really likes to try to love me as well as he possibly can. And still, there's still things that he can never touch, right? Inside. So I just think, becoming our own best friends, really.
To go back to the cake metaphor, I am indulged in some cake shaming this Christmas. So every year we get a really fancy cake called the Bûche de Noël, and it's this beautiful cake. It's like rolled and it's decorated with kind of they make it look like a log in the wood with all this sweet stuff all over it. It's like, and it's not cheap. So it's our Christmas cake. And so we, Christmas Day we had it, and we all cut off a piece and we put it in the fridge when we were done. And I didn't finish my piece, so I had it like in a little bag. I go in there the next evening to have a piece. It looked like the log had been like stripped of bark and any identifying characteristics, and like a grizzly bear had gotten in there and ripped it into 2 pieces. And I lost my ever loving shit. I was like, who ate the cake? And of course, my son, being on the spectrum, he's got that kind of thing where he really can't tell a lie. And he's like, sorry, Mom. And I look over at my daughter, and she looks away, and I'm like, I know you were part of this. I know some of this was on you. I was like, you guys, I got 1 piece. I didn't even have 1 piece of cake. I had a half piece of cake. This is not okay. Right? And I was pissed. And like a couple days later, too, my husband was like, you really need to get over it. I'm like, I'm not going to get over it. I wanted a piece of cake. Damn it. So didn't do me any good.
Well, I think that's good, though, because the people in our lives need to hear that. They need to hear that we want to indulge ourselves in our desires, things that feel good, taste good, right? And because we've spent our lives kind of almost denying that we have needs, or we have wants, or we have desires, because we're so busy taking care of everybody else.
Well, and everybody knows when you put the leftover in a Ziploc bag, that's someone else's. You don't take the leftover out of the damn bag. So really, I was helping my kids with their social skills, because that's unacceptable.
In my experience, teenage boys, they didn't read that book. They don't
my
know that
Lord.
if somebody else put a leftover in a container, it's that person's. No, teenage boys, don't give a shit.
Because my son was like, well, why didn't you eat some? I was like, I was getting to it. He's like, well, I didn't know that. I'm like, really? No, that's not an excuse. Sorry, you're not off the hook.
It makes me miss living with my kids, honestly, hearing the stories.
Well, let me be the one that helps you with that, scratch that itch.
One time when I was living with Charlie, I was divorced. Peyton was in college. He's home, and I'm a bourbon drinker, a whiskey drinker, and I had a bottle of Jameson. And this shit decides to, I guess, drink all my whiskey and fills it up with water.
I was like, yeah.
I don't know how much was it in there. I don't know what. All I know is I came home at one point, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pour myself a whiskey Coke. And it's water. There's water in there. And I just never wanted to kill him more. Oh my God. That moment. But
it's anyway. Like the whole, like, I'm going to leave 2 tablespoons of milk in the container, and then I haven't drank all the milk. Like I'm just thinking about him going, well, if I fill it up with water, she's not going to notice. Like I'm wondering what the logic was behind that.
It was very intentional.
Okay.
It was very because he could buy me another bottle too. I mean, it's like he's an adult at this point. Yeah, he could have bought one, but he was lazy and probably didn't have, I don't even know. All I remember is I chewed his ass because I was so upset. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make my drink. I'm going to pour my...
Right?
Anyway.
Just one little freaking indulgence.
Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip, or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized, it's helpful, it's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity.
And obviously, fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn.
I think another important piece of self-love, like loving ourselves on steroids, is the ability to choose ourselves. Mm-hmm. And this is not always easy for women to do because, again, for all the reasons we've already talked about, the societal conditioning, the good girl conditioning, the way that we were raised. And so I think that getting to midlife is the perfect opportunity to start learning how to choose ourselves so we can spend our next chapter loving ourselves just so freaking hard that, because I feel like that's really the bedrock of a happy life is loving yourself first and foremost. I think I've decided I don't like this drink. It's making my tongue numb.
Wait, what?
It is weird.
Well,
I think it's the ginger.
Oh, yeah. Ginger will do that to you. I mean, I don't mind that feeling, but if you're feeling like you're talking like this, then that's a problem.
Yeah, no, it's just...
All right. Sorry, Kavita. You're out.
Sorry. So, let's put a bow on this baby. What do you want our listeners to walk away from our Valentine's episode, our Loving Ourselves episode? What do you want them to walk away with?
I think that, obviously this is a really commercial holiday. And I was talking with someone today where they were like, my God, I just put my Christmas tree away and there's like freaking blow up hearts everywhere. What is going on? Right. So there's obviously that commercialism piece, but I do think it would be a really radical act of self-care to look at the 14th of February as a time to celebrate the love that you have for yourself and celebrate all the really awesome things that you like about yourself. And whether that's journaling or treating yourself something like a frickin' slice of cake without your teenagers stealing it from you, like whatever that looks like, just indulge yourself a little bit and take 5 minutes to celebrate the fact that, there's a lot to love there. And I think we have to force ourselves to remember that and look at that in a pointed way sometimes. How about you?
Yeah, I think you're right. We have to force ourselves, because it doesn't come naturally. And I think it gets easier when we get to midlife because we have less fucks to give. We're like, hell yeah, I'm going to focus on myself now.
Yep.
But yeah, I just want women to just love themselves fiercely so they can move through the world in a way that really honors themselves, right? They're not quieting that voice inside them. They're not denying what they want, their desires. They're not pushing down the things that they really want to say or do because it's not, what are people going to say or whatever. I want women to be able to just step fully into who they were divinely created to be. And really the only way you can do that is by loving yourself. And if you don't know how to do it, by the time you get to this stage in life, you're not alone. Like you're not alone if you look in the mirror and you're like, who the hell is that sexy bitch looking back at me? So like Lisa said, maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's just treating yourself to something really amazing. Maybe it's taking yourself on a trip, right? Maybe who knows what it is. It's different for all of us. But if this is something that you struggle with as a woman at this stage in life, this is my sweet spot. This is what I help women do.
I was just going to say, come to the right place.
I have free calls, clarity calls that I give to women who are just, you may or may not want to work with a coach. You may or may not know what the heck, but it's a scary place to be, realizing the clock is ticking. We're not getting any younger. And wow, I really feel like shit. I want to live the rest of my life in a very, vibrant way, but I don't know how. And so, I'm happy to talk to women, even if it's just one free conversation to help, get you in a direction towards your best life.
So I want to issue a challenge, and usually Karen's the one that does this, but I just got this idea and I think it'll be cool. So I want everyone, I'm going to issue a challenge for you to write down 14 things, one for each day of February, that you love about yourself. Not that you like about yourself. Like, you can't be like, I have nice eyes, right? Like, no. I mean, you might, but that's not a reason to love yourself. Like, what are the things about you that really you love? And I'm just going to say right now, it's going to be really friggin' hard to do that. And I'm going to join you in the challenge. I'm going to do it too. And I suspect that I'll have difficulty getting to that number. But I think that would be a pretty cool challenge. What do you think about that, Karen?
I think it's a great challenge. I think it's perfect. Yeah. I'm in. Sign me up. Sweet. So as we wrap up, I do want to do a quick piece of housekeeping. So you know how we're always like, join the pod squad, blah, blah, blah. So it's come to our attention that we're not being specific enough when we say that. And we need to re-record our promo for that. But the pod squad is an email list. We want you to subscribe to the email list, not because we want to spam you or sell you a bunch of stuff, but it's a way for us to grow the community in ways that we're not ready to announce yet, but are coming. So it's subscribing to an email list. It also probably didn't help that the link dropped off in the show notes about, 6 weeks ago. So my fault, mea culpa. But that's where you find it. But the other thing is, if you just ping us on social media or, DM us, like whatever, we'll sign you up for it. If you have problems finding it, let us know. But that's basically what it is. It's an email list. And on that email list, you're going to get weekly reminders about the shows and what they are. We want to start highlighting some of our famous quotes that just kind of roll off our tongues that show up in other like cool little tidbits with the podcast. So that's why we want you to sign up for it. Again, it is, yes, you're joining the pod squad, but it is an email list that you are subscribing to. So I just kind of want to make that clear because I don't think we've done a very good job of it. Yes, we apologize if you've been trying to sign up for the pod squad and you weren't able to because the link wasn't working.
Oh my God.
And if you do belong to the pod squad / our email list, basically, that's how you get to know what we're doing. That's how you get to know what we're up to. All of our special little goodies or, the show notes, obviously. But that's like your direct link to us. So if you find value in our podcast, which we hope you do, join us and join it, because then you will be first to know when all the exciting things we have planned coming up in the next year, when they're all getting ready to drop, you'll be first to know because you'll have the inside scoop. When you have a episode that you really love, you just forward it to your bestie's inbox. That's it. Easy peasy.
Yep. And I think that's something you can do for us as a listener. Like that would really help grow this community. If you subscribe to the pod squad and send it to a girlfriend that you love. So I really have 2 challenges for you. 14 things that you love about yourself. Join the Pod Squad email list and send it to a girlfriend. So 16. Ooh. Can I be greedy?
She's asking a lot, listeners.
I know. Well, hopefully not as much now that I know where the friggin' link is where people can find it.
But as always, we appreciate you being here so much. Like more than you know, listeners. Help us grow our community so more women can hear all of the amazing things that we talk about here at Drinks with the Girls. So we will sign off, like, share, subscribe, join our email list / pod squad, and I will say cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Happy Valentine's.